So, you're a fan of Wicked, the movie musical, and Wicked, the Broadway musical? Well, do you know the source material? Gregory Maguire's Wicked, the Life and Times of the Wicked Witch of the West from 1995. I mean, if you don't know it, I'm about to give you a really quick summary with a lot of spoilers. So, if you plan on reading Wicked, you know, and you don't want to get the plot spoiled, please, this is one of the only times I'm going to say skip the video. But if you've read it, or if you're okay to hear spoilers and you're still going to make sure you dive into Gregory Maguire's Wicked universe, got to make sure I plug your book, Gregory. Get as many readers as we can. A full staged audio book reading. That's what I want. A full cast audio book reading. Can we get the full cast from the film to read the audiobook? I know Cynthia Erivo just read it, so I have to listen to that. Okay, but here are the different plot elements of Gregory Maguire's Wicked. So you can actually know how all of this came about in the first place. And if you haven't seen it, Wait in the Wings on YouTube did a great Gregory Maguire episode about the time dragon and how those elements made their way physically, literally, with the set piece of the time dragon. So here we go. Gregory Maguire's Wicked begins in the land of Oz, where a minister's wife, Melina Throp, gives birth to a daughter named Alphaba. Alphaba has green skin, sharp teeth, a savage demeanor, and a fear of water. The story details Alphaba's difficult childhood before flashing forward, not backwards, to show her at Shiz University with her social climbing roommate Galinda, who is destined to become Glinda. While at Shiz, the two girls discover that Oz is rife with political tension. Head mistress and Ozian power broker Madame Orble suggests that Alphaba and Glinda work for her from behind the scenes to help stabilize the political situation in Oz. Preferring more direct action, Alphaba and Glinda travel to the Emerald City, where they meet the wizard and plead their case. When the wizard dismisses their concerns, Alphaba takes matters into her own hands. She goes into hiding and joins an underground terrorist group working out of the Emerald City. 5 years later, Alphaba reconnects with former schoolmate Prince Fiero, now married with 3 children, and the two begin an illicit affair. Uh-oh. While Alphaba makes an attempt at assassinating Madame Orble, Fiero is caught in Alphaba's hideout and arrested by the wizard's secret police force. Blaming herself for his capture, Alphaba takes refuge in a convent. 7 years later, she visits Fiero's family at their castle, Kiamoko, in hopes of gaining their forgiveness. She brings along a boy named Lear, her son by Fiero. Fiero's family allows her to stay there as their guest, but his wife Sarima refuses to hear her apology. I'm sorry, I'm just chuckling because not that I agree with the affair because I don't, but just that Alphaba would have the nerve to then go to Fiero's castle where his wife is, who she just cheated on and had a love child with Fiero. Okay. While there, Alphaba finds the Grimory, a book of spells and magic, and begins to study sorcery, gaining a reputation as a witch. Alphaba's father asks for help with her sister, Nessarose, who has also become a witch and has taken Alphaba's hereditary position as ruler of Munchkinland. Hereditary position, meaning Alphaba was supposed to be the ruler of Munchkinland before, of course, Nessarose sweeps in. See you next Tuesday. Tired of being used as a pawn in other people's agendas and having no interest in ruling, Alphaba instead renounces her claim. Nessarose promises to give Alphaba her enchanted silver shoes after she dies. Okay, the shoes were hers to inherit. When Alphaba returns to Hiyamako, she discovers the wizard's troops have taken Fiero's family prisoner. 7 years later, okay, we keep moving 7 years, as you notice. We don't really have a specific timeline with when Wicked for Good begins, the film. 7 years later, a storm visits Munchkinland, dropping a farmhouse on Nessarose, boom, and unaliving her. The farmhouse's passengers are a little girl named Dorothy Gale and her little dog Toto. Alphaba and Glinda reunite for the first time in years shortly after Nessa Rose's death. Very, very similar to the musical adaptation. Here we go. We're in the Wizard of Oz timeline now. Upon learning Glinda sent Dorothy off with Nessarose's shoes for fear of their power igniting a civil war in Munchkinland, Alphaba is furious as the shoes were rightfully hers. She fears the shoes will fall into the hands of the wizard, who may use them to further advance his power and political agenda. Really interesting. We get the discussion of the shoes in their cat fight in the musical, but we don't really get any kind of knowledge that the shoes could fall into the hands of the wizard. I'm assuming that's just because of time. They couldn't delve into each of these narrative plot points. But I like that. That makes a lot more sense with this inheritance claim and the chaos the shoes actually could cause. Okay. Alphaba meets with the wizard to beg for the release of Fierre's family in exchange for the Grimoire. The wizard explains that he has unalived them all except for Fierre's daughter, Nor, whom he keeps as a slave. Okay, so the wizard is uh, full on fascist here. He explains that he comes from a different world, the same world the book comes from, and is not bound by the laws of Oz. Alphaba then seeks out the elderly Madame Morble to complete the assassination she failed at years earlier. She's going to get to Madame Morble in this book, only to discover that Madame Morble has died, mere moments before Alphaba arrived. After bludgeoning the old woman's corpse, she goes like full on slasher film Alphaba here. Alphaba learns from the clock of the time dragon that the wizard is her biological father, making her the child of two different worlds, and thus destined never to fit in anywhere. Guess what? In the Broadway musical, does Alphaba learn that the wizard's her father? Mm-mm. The wizard learns that he's Alphaba's father. Big plot difference. She returns to Kiamoko and Lear, her son, and Fierre's son, informs her he has learned from soldiers stationed nearby that the wizard has sent Dorothy and her companions on a mission to kill Alphaba. Okay, so Lear, her son, is the one who tells her that Dorothy's coming. Who is Alphaba's sidekick in the musical? Chistery, the flying winged monkey, is her companion and guard. When Dorothy and her friends arrive at Kiamoko, she tells Alphaba that while the wizard sent her with orders to kill the Wicked Witch of the West, Dorothy came to apologize for killing Nessarose. Aw, well, that's sweet. Furious that Dorothy is asking for the forgiveness she herself has been denied, Alphaba waves her burning broom in the air and inadvertently sets her skirt on fire. Dorothy throws a bucket of water on her, save her, unaware that Alphaba is allergic to water. The water melts her away. Dorothy returns to the wizard with a green bottle, which he recognizes as the potion he used to drug Melina years earlier. Melina is Alphaba's mom. He hastily departs the Emerald City for his own world, mere hours before a coup would have overthrown and killed him. The book ends with political chaos reigning over Oz. And that takes us to the second book called Son of a Witch. But why do you think that some of these narrative plot points really are, they stray? Why there is no Prince Fiero and Glinda wedding? Why we don't get Alphaba and Fiero committing adultery together that results in a love child between them? You know, there are definitely not these assassination attempts, right? Is this just because Stephen Schwartz and Winnie Holtzman wanted to appeal to a family audience? You know, or is it because just the nature of a musical and you have to keep it within a certain amount of time? This is why we need a TV adaptation of Gregory Maguire's novel. I want to see all of these plot points come to life. I think that I'm pitching Maddie Brewer. I'm pitching you as Glinda. I don't know your Alphaba, but there's definitely such talented actors out there to play these parts. Thank you, baby.